Hey guys, it's Jolene from Smith's Nature Friendly Farms. We're hanging out in the garden today and we're going to show you our brand new greenhouse. Okay, so if you followed us for a while, you know that we actually have not had the best luck with greenhouses. We are actually on our second greenhouse. Our first greenhouse failed miserably. And our second greenhouse, it got taken out by the wind. And you can see all about that one on our other YouTube video on the ASIM high tunnel, or mini high tunnel as I called it. But this last greenhouse I really have high hopes for, and I think it's going to make it. Let's check it out. So this is the beginning of the new greenhouse. We have, well, my husband's done all of this. I've done nothing. I stood here and held screws and passed them to him. So this is it. We're going to canal panel this guy, and this is much heavier than the last greenhouse that we had. You can see that we've used here, these are 2 foot tall, and these are 4x4s, and then the long boards are, I think they're 2 by 10, 12 foot long. I'm pretty sure that's what they are, and we've kept them that entire length. He's made it so that I can actually expand it. So I'm going to show you these corners. This is done specifically so that he can attach another board and go out again, and if I want a bigger greenhouse, he can add on. So I thought that was actually really brilliant. My husband's not a carpenter, but he really is fantastic at building stuff. I'm always so impressed. So this is phase 1, pretty simple setup. And phase 2, after the wood, now we're going to move on to the cattle panels. All right, so we've come a fair ways with the greenhouse. Super excited about this. My husband has put up the panels along the fence. You can see that he's used what I think are called like a U-nail. Now, in order to get these on, this was really interesting what he did. He actually nailed in first another piece of wood that ran all the way across here that we used to lean the cattle panel on in order to hold it steady so that he could nail it down, and then he removed that piece of wood afterwards. So it was kind of like a stabilizer. And it took 3 people in order to get this up. Somebody had to push up the cattle panel in the middle and then hold it steady while somebody held it on both sides. So it took 3 of us all together. Now you can see in the front he's going with a nicely framed door, which that's amazing to me. I'm so impressed with his building ability. This is not a man who did, as he put it, he's like, I failed shop. So I'm so impressed with his work. And we have done the door because we had the material for the door, but we had to order the plastic for the greenhouse. In the back, he's got to build a window in the back, and that is actually great because we're going to now have airflow straight through with the door open and the window open, and that'll hopefully will also help me let the butterflies and the bees out when they come through. All right, this is it, guys. This is our cattle panel greenhouse that I'm super excited about. Now, oh, I've got a butterfly in here. I've got a couple. Excuse me, one moment, please, people. We need to rescue butterflies. Last one. All right, back to our regular scheduled programming. Okay, now that the butterflies are all safe, let me get the sun out of our view. Let's talk about this fabulous cattle panel greenhouse. So the first one that we built out of that, we had a wood form, it had a wood roof, it had a peak. The peak was terrible because the water would hold and then basically collapsed the whole thing in heavy rains. The ASIM high tunnel, the wind took out. We lost it to, I think, a 90-mile-an-hour windstorm. Like, it really didn't have a hope. This guy is good. This guy's solid. We, in the end, are still not perfectionists. We didn't follow everybody's build ideas. That's probably why we lose greenhouses, but at the same time, my husband wants to do it his own way and I don't complain. I'm just so happy that he's doing it and helping me with it. So at the end of the day, it is perfect to me and I'm absolutely happy with it. But for our viewers, you might find areas in it that you're like, well, they could have done this better, they could have done that better. I'm sure they could have done better in lots of different spots, but that doesn't mean that it isn't fabulous to me. So let's take a look at it. Okay, so here it is with the plastic on top. Inside you can see I have a way too full greenhouse already. It's perfect though for what I need to do is just protect some delicate plants and then some seedlings in the early spring. At some point we'll add an actual high tunnel and we'll do a lot of these things like the trees and stuff would go in the high tunnel, but I still need a space to start my seedlings off in the spring. So the back of this is not finished yet. We're waiting to find the window and we're going to build a frame in here and it'll have an actual window and then the rest of this will be sealed. The plastic will be sealed to the window. Right now it's just pulled underneath. You can see that there and it's not actually nailed in. So we have a little bit of work to do, but already it's been through some rainstorms, some windstorms, and it doesn't even move. I'm so one thing I will say about the ASUM is you did see it in the windstorms lift. I have not seen this lift. Now to be fair, we also haven't had, a super serious windstorm yet. So it could change. I could, say that differently. But so far it seems really great. The worst thing I predict will happen on this one is that the plastic will come off, but obviously the base is awfully heavy. Like this is going to take, a tornado coming through or hurricane winds or something like that to do anything with it. So the worst thing I think will happen will be that the wind takes out the plastic and does really nothing with the metal cattle panels that go across. Cost-wise, we reused a lot of wood, so a little bit hard to give you a cost on it, but I would say each of the cattle panels, it took 3. There are 3 cattle panels in here. They're about $30 a piece, and then obviously the price of lumber is really gross right now, so you're probably looking at another $150 in lumber. We needed what are these called? Zip ties. You've got zip ties in there, and then we have used swimming foamies to protect metal against plastic in as many places as possible, and that's just to prevent wear and tear on the points where the metal touches the plastic in some points. And this is a quick look at the front of it. You can see our slight imperfections. We're not masters when it comes to getting the plastic to fit, but we're masters at making stuff work. And so it works. And so far we've had some lows in the 30s and they've kept up just fine. So I'm not worried. And I've never been an aesthetics person, like I had to a certain degree. It has to be functional, and I'm kind of a girl of the 80-20 rule, like 80% good, 20% meh. We'll live with it. So you can see that we have used some insulation pipe foaming in here because this is also where some metal connects and will bang a bit more against the plastic. So just trying to protect the plastic a bit. So a big tip if you're building this that I have honestly seen great improvements from is using this type of nail. And you can buy this in the package. It comes with the nail and the little cap already in it. And this works a million times better than, say, trying to use a staple gun. The staple gun is ridiculous. It'll just pop out and you'll end up with all these extra holes in your plastic. But these hold it nice and flush and it seems to stay down so much better. So I highly recommend if you are building any type of greenhouse, cattle panel or not, to use this type of capping system with the nails. So I am super stoked about this greenhouse. It's already gone through its first freeze and I have no complaints whatsoever about it. The wind, it seems to be holding up just lovely. So I'm super, super excited about it. Hopefully this time, 3 times is the winner. We finally got it right. I'll certainly keep you updated as we go along. Well, that's it, you guys. Be friendly, be kind.